I'm Dana Han-Klein here with Simon Curtis for Goodbye, Christopher Robin.
Why is now the right time to tell this story?
It's the story of the writing of Winnie the Pooh and the family, the Milne family, at the time the stories were created. And what I hadn't realized was that the reason the Winnie the Pooh stories became so popular so quickly was because they enabled readers all over the world to reconnect with the innocent days before the trauma of World War I. And you could argue we're going through quite a traumatic period now, and so maybe the film will have a similar impact.
So what was your first reaction upon reading the script?
Well, most films these days don't seem to be about anything at all. And this script seemed to be so rich. As I say, it was a story of the writing of one of the most popular books of all time. It was the story of a very particular family. It was the story of a family and a world recovering from the trauma of war. But most of all, it was a sort of love letter to childhood and to family.
Did the script change dramatically between when you first read it and when you actually started production?
It evolved in a way that does happen when different people come on board, and financiers and actors, everyone has an opinion, and it just sort of evolves and gets hopefully richer and deeper along the way.
You have such a lovely cast.
Yes.
In what order did they come together?
That's a good question. I think Domhnall came first, and then, I really tried hard to make it work for Margot because I'm a huge admirer of both of theirs. Then it was a hunt for the boy because we knew we needed a 9-year-old boy to play Christopher Robin.
And they say it's so hard.
Yeah.
Child actors are a special level.
But in this case, they say don't work with children or stuffed animals.
Yes, that is an interesting variation on that advice.
But we had a national hunt for the boy, and I'm happy to say we found a wonderful one.
Yeah.
Will is a fantastically talented young actor and a joy to work with.
Did they do a lot of tests together before?
They did, yeah. I did a lot of auditions with Will, and then the final day we took our top 3 boys to the location house and auditioned them with Domhnall, and that helped because they called it a chemistry read, and
Sure.
and their dynamic seemed very good together.
What do you think the most challenging scene to film was?
Quite a lot of challenging films. There were quite a lot of challenging scenes because there's a lot of emotion at stake. But I think the one where we had the snow sequence was the trickiest because we had fake snow on the floor and swirling around, and I couldn't walk to the actors because I would make footprints in the snow. In the fake snow.
There's a lot of shouting back and forth through the beautiful wintery woods.
Exactly.
What's something you learned on the previous biopics you've made and directed that you applied to this one?
I think you have to be loyal to the original story, get experts to advise you so you can stick as close as possible to the true story, but you also have a priority to make a good film that works in its own right.
Who were some of the experts involved in this film?
The main one was a woman called Anne Thwaite, who was the biographer of A.A. Milne, and so she actually appears in the film briefly and was very much on hand to keep us on the authentic track.
Are there any particular moments you can remember that she mentioned, like, actually, this might be more realistic?
Well, funny things like, don't walk off Pooh Bridge in that direction because Cotchford, the house, is the other way, But and I think I think the fame of the stories happens in the film more quickly than it would have done in real life.
Sure.
So we do things like that. But by and large, I think people who know the true story feel we've got it right.
Is there something in your life that your at least one of your parents forbade you from doing that you did anyway that made you like a better person?
That's a good question. Let me think. Well, I think when I was growing up, I was obsessed by watching TV rather than necessarily doing my schoolwork, but in some ways that's become my career, so there you go.
Which Winnie the Pooh character do you think you're most like, and why?
Well, I think maybe I'm a blend of Tigger and Eeyore. There's sometimes the energetic one and sometimes the more despondent one. But I think that's why I think everyone loves these characters so much, because they all represent different parts of everybody's personality.
Was Winnie the Pooh a big part of your childhood growing up?
No, I wouldn't say massive, no more than most people's. I mean, certainly my parents read the stories to me and I read them to my children, but it wasn't, I've met some fanatics along the way and on the road, and I wouldn't be in that category.
Were you, I wouldn't say worried, but were you at all playing to the fanatic audience, or was this more about like a broader audience?
I think we want to make sure the story works as a family drama, as a compelling drama, whether you know and love the stories or not. you know, it really is a love letter to childhood and to family, and you know that, and as the nanny says, cherish the people around you because you never know what happens next.
Kelly Macdonald is one of my favorite actors.
Me too.
And I think she's such an unexpected, like, positive influence on.
Yes. Why unexpected?
For me, I mean, I guess I grew up here, and I'm just having like my parents be that influence.
Yes, yeah, I see.
I think there's this separation.
Well,
of,
but that's the reason I say that.
Time.
Yeah, well, that's the point.
Yeah.
But yes, I mean, the nanny is the great love of the boy's life, but that was very typical of England in that time.
I think it's just like a more modern
yes.
person in the audience.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
No, understood. That's fair enough. But it's important to say that's what it was. You know, in the royal family, they all adore their nannies, and they are there. And you know, to be fair, that was what parents did. They hired a great nanny and then handed the kid over to the nanny.
Great parents.
Yeah, but that's the way it was done then.
What inspires you?
I like to make films that are about something that touch people in a deep way, which is why I love this script so much. And you know, so much of our culture is so disposable and really so meaningless. I try and do things that have some meaning and some value.
Living or dead, who's someone you wish you could collaborate with that you haven't already?
That's a good question. I made a film about Marilyn Monroe, and I wish now I could direct her.
And finally, how do you define success?
That's a very good question, particularly now, you know, because, you know, do you measure like a film's success in terms of numbers or reviews or what? But for me, I love doing these appearances and Q&As afterwards, because there's nothing can beat just talking to audience members and hearing their reactions, and that is successful to me.
Thank you so much. Congrats on the film.
Thank you. Thanks very much.